Next tonight, we are heading to Genesee County, where there are big developments at a site with big expectations. The Science, Technology, and Advanced Manufacturing Park, or STAMP site, is more than 1,200 acres in the town of Alabama. It's gotten nearly $100 million in state money designed to bring in high-paying manufacturing jobs. But Investigative Post has learned that at least 2 more companies have backed out of coming to STAMP as the industrial park is struggling to fill up all that space. Shoemaker is a reporter who's been covering this with Investigative Post, and Dale is here live tonight. Great to see you. Thanks for coming in. All right, so let's start here with what is, I guess, the biggest news of late, although this is a site that always seems to be in the news. What should we know about these 2 companies that had hoped to come here and now aren't?
So the first company is called Scannell. They are a multinational builder, and they had plans to construct 3 basically like made-to-order buildings on the site. They had a right of first refusal, basically, for a southern portion of the property. And they said that they were marketing that to Fortune 500 companies. They have canceled that contract. They have kind of given up their rights to the STAMP land, saying, you know, the economic situation is just too untenable right now. Maybe we'll come back later. So they're gone at this point. We also learned that a data center, we don't know the name of the company, it was called Project Emporium. They wanted to take up about 100 acres of a northern part of the site. They have also canceled plans. Now, Genesee County Economic Development Center told me that that was not really a serious plan to have that data center there, but they did start pursuing environmental permits for that project. So they were at least a little bit serious about coming there. Big
picture, how is the site doing generally? We mentioned struggling to fill it up. I don't think anyone expected it would be full by now, but how is it going?
So at this point, they have 2 companies. They have Plug Power, which has begun construction of its 2 big hydrogen-producing electrolyzers, and Edwards Vacuum, a parts maker for the semiconductor industry. They have begun construction as well. Now, Plug Power has paused their construction. They have not really done anything all year because they've had some pretty big financial concerns as a company. Edwards, however, they are building right now. When I talked to site selectors told me that it takes a long time to fill up an industrial park like this, so it's not going to happen overnight. But we also know that dozens of other companies have taken a hard look at STAMP, and they've also said no, including in that is Samsung, which Investigative Post reported on a couple years ago. They had planned to come here, and they went to Austin, Texas instead.
Finally, this is so important because of all the taxpayer money that's been put into this, and also just sort of the expectations and some of the promises. You haven't always had luck getting all the answers that you want from people who are sort of in charge of this, but you did get a pretty big interview recently. What'd you learn?
Yeah, so for the last year, I've been trying to sit down with the leadership of the Genesee County EDC to ask them questions about STAMP, and they've, not said yes. So finally, we got a chance to sit down with them last week, and we had a very long conversation about the struggles of STAMP and kind of where things stand at this point. One of the most interesting things, Mark Massey, he's the incoming president, told me, is that the CHIPS Act, which Senator Schumer had a big hand in passing, isn't going to be kind of the coup de grace for STAMP that was expected. Before the CHIPS Act came along, STAMP was being built for semiconductor manufacturing facilities, what they call chip fabs. That was kind of the vision for that site. The subsidies included in the CHIPS Act are so big, it turns out, that the companies receiving them are now going 3 times, 5 times, 10 times the original plans, and STAMP isn't big enough.
Wow.
They're going elsewhere. They're going to, for example, outside of Syracuse, the Micron project, outside of Columbus, Ohio, the Intel project. Those are the types of large sites that they're looking for. STAMP is now shifting gears, and they are looking to have more companies like Edwards Vacuum that are supporting the semiconductor industry, but are not manufacturing chips themselves.
Really interesting stuff. I know you'll continue to follow it. We'd love to have you back when there's more. Shoemaker, reporter with Investigative Post. You can go to investigativepost.org to read more. Certainly encourage you to do that.
Thanks, Mike.
Good to see you.